running from Victoria Station to Hampstead Heath. This bus journey takes about an hour. It can, however, be extended by taking advantage of any number of excursions on foot along the route. Use a payment card such as an Oyster Card to keep fares to a minimum. During the day, buses run approximately every 10 minutes. At Victoria Station, head for bus stop J. From the main exit, turn right, then at the corner of the building, right again for about 50 meters. Perhaps a better option, though, would be to head over to Little Ben, a clock similar in design to Big Ben but smaller, which is visible from the exit. Turn right into Victoria Street, where after about 60 meters, Westminster Cathedral is set back from the road. Built on the site of a former prison and completed in 1903, it arguably looks more like a mosque than a cathedral. Continuing along Victoria Street, Strutton Ground, the road opposite a small park inhabited by a handful of trees, is home to a popular weekday market, blessed with an abundance of enticing food stalls. On approaching Parliament Square, the Westminster Scholars' War Memorial, a stone column in front of Westminster Abbey, is dedicated to students of nearby Westminster School who lost their lives during the Indian Mutiny and Crimean War. Slightly before it to the left, domed Central Hall doubles as a Methodist church and conference center. It's where the inaugural meeting of the United Nations took place. The bus then reaches Westminster Abbey. Construction of the current building began in 1245, although the iconic twin towers were not added until 500 years later. Opposite it, the route turns left past the Supreme Court into Parliament Square, a UNESCO World Heritage Site which is home to a dozen or so statues of mainly political figures, the most famous probably being Winston Churchill, although others such as U.S. President Lincoln and Mahatma Gandhi make it a close call. Big Ben Clock Tower and the Houses of Parliament dominate the far side. Churchill was married at St. Margaret's Church, situated to the side of Westminster Abbey. The bus leaves Parliament Square along Whitehall, where the cenotaph, designed by Edwin Lutyens, was built due to public sentiment following the First World War. Shortly afterwards, police and railings protect Downing Street, where number 10, one of only 3 houses in the road, is the official residence of the Prime Minister. Across Whitehall, the 3 statues on the grass outside the Ministry of Defence building are of Viscount Bernard Montgomery, Viscount Alanbrooke, and Viscount Slim, predictably all military leaders. Earl Haig, another military leader, is mounted in the center of the road slightly before the banqueting house outside which King Charles I was beheaded in 1649. The famous ceiling there, painted by Peter Paul Rubens, can be visited. Almost directly opposite, the popular Horse Guards are on duty almost every day. The next equestrian figure in the middle of the road is of Queen Victoria's cousin, the Duke of Cambridge. Straight ahead in the distance, the column in Trafalgar Square is topped by a statue of Admiral Nelson of the British Navy, who was killed at the Battle of Trafalgar. Finally, at the end of Whitehall, the figure on horseback is King Charles I, before he was beheaded. It is the place where all distances to and from London are measured. As the bus enters Trafalgar Square, Admiralty Arch over to the left leads to the Mall and Buckingham Palace. Just past it, a statue of Charles James Napier, who has a town in New Zealand named after him, stands in front of the Canadian Embassy. The domed National Gallery on the far side of the square is one of the foremost art galleries in the world, and free to enter. The route passes between the South African High Commission over to the right and a small round pillar topped by a lamp on the corner of the square, which was at one time the smallest police station in Britain. The statue nearest it is of Henry Havelock, who also has a town in New Zealand named after him. To the left, as the road slopes up towards the National Gallery, the figure on horseback is George IV. He was known as the Prince Regent before becoming king, and Regent's Canal, which this route crosses in Camden, is named after him. St. Martin's in the Fields Church opposite has a popular cafe in the crypt and hosts free lunchtime concerts most weekdays. Further up the incline, the statue of Edith Cavell, a British nurse executed during the First World War, stands opposite the National Portrait Gallery, also free to enter and of interest to both history and art lovers. Next, the Garrick Theatre, named after famous 18th century actor David Garrick, is soon followed by the Hippodrome Entertainment Complex, where the road off to the left leads to Leicester Square, home to the Odeon and Empire cinemas, which often host British film premieres, and a kiosk selling cut-price theatre tickets. Continuing along Charing Cross Road, the next two turnings left lead to Chinatown. The route then crosses Shaftesbury Avenue at Cambridge Circus, once a roundabout, where the Palace Theatre was originally the Royal English Opera owned by Richard D'Oyly Carte. The well-patronized Cambridge Public House nearby tends to attract favorable reviews. After about 100 meters, opposite the Phoenix Theatre, the bus stops outside Foyle's famous bookshop, once the largest in the world. As it then continues along Charing Cross Road and Tottenham Court Road, both lined mostly with modern shops, consider undertaking an excursion on foot basically running parallel to the route, until meeting up with it again at Warren Street Station. To do this, head right a little way past the Phoenix Theatre into Denmark Street, which was strongly associated with British popular music during the 1960s and 70s. On the left-hand side, Argent's at number 19 was originally owned by Rod Argent of the Zombies. Across the road, David Bowie, Elton John, and numerous others patronized number 9 when it was the Gioconda Café. Donovan recorded Catch the Wind at number 8, and the Sex Pistols lived and recorded at number 6. The New Musical Express, now old, was founded at number 5. Continue between the colorful buildings of Central St. Giles and St. Giles in the Fields Church, before turning left immediately before the Shaftesbury Theatre. Pass Bloomsbury Central Baptist Church before crossing New Oxford Street into Bloomsbury Street. Great Russell Street, the second turning right, leads to the British Museum, London's most visited attraction where entry is free, as are some of the guided tours. Along Bloomsbury Street, Bedford Square, complete with private central gardens, is considered one of the better examples of Georgian architecture in London. Bloomsbury Street now becomes Gower Street. Take a quick look at Gower Mews, the first road left, where former stables have been converted into residential properties in one of the city's more sought-after locations. Further along Gower Street, after Bonham Carter House, where the first anesthetic in England was administered, turn right at the crossroads into Torrington Place, then enter Mallet Place. Head along it for 100 meters or so to the Petrie Museum of Egyptian Archaeology, which opens during the afternoon from Tuesday to Saturday, public holidays permitting, and is another free to enter. Returning to Gower Street again, the Grant Museum of Zoology was established in 1928 and opens most afternoons Monday to Saturday. As you would expect by now, entry is free to those wishing to spend time among the thousands of exhibits there. The red brick cruciform building nearby is where George Orwell died. Enter the grounds of University College London opposite to visit the Jeremy Bentham auto icon. Jeremy was a philosopher who died in 1832. To reunite with the bus, head left at the end of Gower Street towards Euston Tower, once the second tallest building in London. Visible above the rooftops at the next junction, the BT Tower was once the tallest building in London. Cross to the Warren Street station side of the road, before turning right to the bus stop situated just beyond Euston Tower. The route continues past buildings of scant significance before crossing the rail tracks entering Euston Station. Then opposite the small park in Harrington Square Gardens, former Carrera cigarette factory, built in the Egyptian Revival style, was the first in Britain to be air-conditioned. At the next junction, Mornington Crescent Underground Station, similar in style to those at Warren Street, Chalk Farm, and Camden Town, is among the many designed by Leslie Green before he died aged just 33 years old. Beyond it, as the bus enters Camden High Street, a statue of relatively unknown Richard Cobden is one of 3 in England. A bridge, several pubs, and 5 towns in various parts of the world are also named after him. Not bad for a relatively unknown. To the left, after a couple of hundred meters, the Blues Kitchen is a restaurant, bar, and music venue, with an interior worthy of at least a quick look. The Camden Head, a pub which hosts comedy events most evenings, is situated opposite. There is a toilet in the center of the road at the next major intersection. The Camden Eye and the World's End, another pub which promotes live music, are over to the right. Musicians also perform at the Jazz Cafe a short distance along the road to the left. Continuing past Camden Town Station, the High Street becomes busier. The Electric Ballroom, an entertainment venue mostly featuring music, has in the past hosted well-known acts such as The Clash, Madness, and Jim Reeves. Directly opposite, the appropriately named Inverness Street Market is in Inverness Street. Heading past Buck Street Market towards the railway bridge, many of the shop fronts are famously decorated with flamboyant designs. Popular pubs include the Buck's Head, the Elephant's Head, and the Oxford Arms. To the left across the canal, popular Camden Lock Market, especially at weekends, is very busy. Stables Market beyond it extends alongside Chalk Farm Road for about 200 meters to the next junction, and if anything attracts even more visitors. Buildings of this former horse hospital and arches of the still operational railway viaduct above have been converted into popular modern retail outlets. Look out for the statue of famous singer Amy Winehouse, who lived in Camden. The Holly Arms, a former haunt of hers, is a short way along the turning beside the railway bridge. Leave the bus at the stop just after the bridge for the next excursion on foot, which visits Primrose Hill before returning via the towpath of Regent's Canal. Continue alongside the wall of Stables Market towards the roundhouse, which started life in the 1850s as a railway shed complete with turntable. It eventually became a performing arts venue where top acts have included Pink Floyd, the Rolling Stones, and of course, Amy Winehouse. A little further on, before Chalk Farm Station, turn left into Regent's Park Road and over the railway tracks to one of London's more exclusive neighborhoods. After 300 or 400 meters, enter right through the first gate of the park and follow the path to the top of Primrose Hill for a panoramic view of London. Return to the entrance where the route continues beside the railings along Regent's Park Road, then Albert Terrace. At the end of Albert Terrace, turn left towards St. Mark's Church, just before it take the path down to Regent's Canal, named after the Prince Regent, who later became George IV. There's a statue of him back at Trafalgar Square. London Zoo is on the bank opposite. Turn left along the towpath following the canal as it bends under the bridge back towards Camden. Especially on a sunny day, this is a pleasant walk passing houseboats, weeping willow trees, and people generally enjoying themselves along the way. After the arched entrance to Camden Lock Market, which was once a thriving timber yard, continue over the footbridge. The locks below it are still in frequent use. Beyond them, climb the steps to Camden High Street, then recross the canal before passing beneath the railway bridge to the bus stop beside the wall of Stables Market. On board the bus again, the route passes the Lock Tavern and the Monarch before turning right by the Camden Assembly, 3 more public houses which offer live entertainment. Then after 200 or 300 meters, even more live music is promoted at the popular Fiddler's Elbow. The route then enters a mainly residential area, where it passes St. Dominic's Priory, which can be visited and has a bus stop right outside. Shortly after, it reaches the terminus at Southend Green. Keats's house, where poet John Keats wrote Ode to a Nightingale, is close by. To visit, walk past the Garden Gate Public House, situated beside the terminus. Then after Hampstead Heath railway station, turn first left into Keats Grove and look out for the signs. A little further on, 2 Willow Road is a modernist-designed house managed by the National Trust, which houses an art collection featuring works by, among others, Max Ernst, Henry Moore, and Bridget Riley. Simply continue to the end of Keats Grove, turn right along Downshire Hill, then first left into Willow Road. Returning along Willow Road and straight across Downshire Hill leads back to the railway station. Take the turning immediately before it into South Hill Park, fork right along Parliament Hill, then at the end continue on to Hampstead Heath. After about 80 meters, where the footpaths cross, head right to the top of the hill for another panoramic view of London.